So far, our Flask apps can display pages and even handle forms. But the moment you refresh the page, poof, all your data is gone. That's because we're not storing anything yet. And what's a web app without data? Today, we'll connect Flask to a database. We'll start with SQLite, which is super lightweight and built into Python, and then take a look at SQLAlchemy, a tool that makes database work feel much more natural in Python. Think of a database as your app's memory. Without it, every time a user submits a form or adds information, it just disappears. SQLite solves this by giving us a simple file-based database that comes with Python by default. You can connect directly to it inside Flask. For example, this creates a table to hold usernames. If you insert data here, it stays even after you restart the app. The downside? Writing raw SQL queries by hand can get repetitive and messy as your project grows. Before we dive in, one quick note. SQLAlchemy doesn't come with Python by default, so you'll need to install it first with. Now that it's installed, SQLAlchemy works as an ORM, an object relational mapper. That's just a fancy way of saying that instead of writing raw SQL queries, you describe your database tables and records using Python classes. Behind the scenes, SQLAlchemy translates those classes into the actual database commands for you. Here's a quick example. Now we can create, read, update, and delete users without touching raw SQL. Want to add a new user? Just do. And querying is just as easy as. It's cleaner, safer, and scales much better. Okay, let's put everything together with a real example. First, we'll make a simple form in our template. This form sends a post request with the user's name. Now, in our Flask app, we handle that request and store the data with SQLAlchemy. Here's what's happening. When the user submits the form, we grab the name field from the request and use it to create a new user object, which we then add to the database. Once that's saved, every time the page reloads, we query all the users and pass them to the template, so the names stay stored and get displayed on the page. So now, every time someone submits their name, it stays saved in the database and shows up in the list, even after refreshing. That's real persistence, and it's the foundation of almost every web app you'll ever build. So today, we'll learn why databases matter in web apps, how to connect directly to SQLite with raw SQL, and how SQLAlchemy makes the process way easier by letting us work with Python classes instead of long queries. We also saw how to hook up a form so that user data actually gets saved and displayed. Here's your challenge. Create a simple guestbook. Let users enter their names and a short message. Save that into the database and display all the submissions on the page. Drop your version in the comments, and in the next video, we'll talk about authentication, giving users an account so they can log in and make your app a little more personal. I'll see you in the next dimension.